being April the 1st, 2018. And this is your favorite hermit here in South Georgia. This is Mr. Dave, and it is 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time here in South Georgia. And I woke up to, I was going to do an update earlier, and the moon hadn't risen enough to give it a good shot. And then all of a sudden, I just got really sleepy and just couldn't stay awake at all. And so I noticed when I went to the store at about 9 o'clock last night, a few hours ago, I guess about 9 hours now, really. And the moon was bright, full, coming up. It was a beautiful day yesterday here in South Georgia. The skies were the bluest I've seen them in a long time. There were no clouds of any kind, no stratospheric aerosol injections or anything like that. And it was like beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But as I'm fixing to show you, from about a month ago, the moon is setting this morning in the wrong place badly. 2 nights ago, when I was looking at the moon coming up, I was astonished at the fact that the moon was so high in the sky that in order for me to see the moon, I couldn't see it out my window sitting here in my little chair. Because the moon was so high, I had to go outside, and it was over the top of my house. And it was setting in a strange place. And I was like, what is going on here? Ooh. Who's on here? Oh, I don't see. It says somebody's watching. If there's somebody watching, good morning from South Georgia. I'm going to put my shoes on real quick. I try to plan these things out a little better. I want to do this before I got sleepy again and had to lay down. These energies that are hitting right now are just absolutely just insanity in a way. Stick with me. I'm fixing to walk through the dark here for a second. Yeah, turn on my little light. Woo! Going through the dark spot. Want to show how the moon's going to look. Hang in there. I'm still with you. Whoop, whoop. Where you at here? I'm hoping. Yep, there's the moon. I got to turn on my porch light. Well, there's the moon without any lights. And let me turn on my porch light here. That gives a little bit better perspective. Now, I know that this is not the most optimal and etc. Now, I'm standing at my back porch, and I'm facing due east, okay? And 2 nights ago, the moon was straight up over the top of my house, and I had to come outside in order to see it. Ooh, that's a better spot. I had to come outside in order to look up and see the moon. I had to step out from the edge of my roof line, which meant that the moon was straight over my head. And when it set straight behind me in the trees. Okay. Now, if you see where that moon is now, it's not in the same place it was 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago. Okay. This is not, this took a month or a year or a week or whatever. Nope. In 2 days' time, the moon has went from straight over my head to where it is now. And where it is setting now is plumb weird, y'all. The Earth is in a huge roll. Now, I thought the other night when I looked at the moon was about this big. I mean, it was so small. I stood here and I tried my best to pick out the face on the moon. I had zero luck. Couldn't see it. 3 hours later, I came out and the moon was like here in the sky. It was way high in the sky, where it's supposed to be. Okay. For the last 3 weeks, approximately, the moon has been high in the sky, and I thought, wow, it looks kind of normal. This, my friends, where the moon is setting right now. Okay, straight behind me, if we're going to look at this from a 90-degree angle, let's see, okay, from 90 degrees, 80, 70, 60, the moon has moved 30 degrees. The Earth has wobbled 30 degrees. From where the moon set the other night, which would actually, if I had been able to take the video the other night, it got cloudy on me, and I went at 5 o'clock in the morning, and all you could see was just brightness. Now you can actually see the moon through the trees. The moon should be right behind my head. You should not be able to see the moon with me standing here right now. That was 2 nights ago. Now the moon is over here. It's supposed to be right behind my head. That's where it was 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago. And it has shifted this much. And in fact, from where it rose today, or earlier today, last night, you know what I mean? It came up about, I'd say about 10 or 15 degrees off. Where it's setting now, it's another 15 degrees off. So this April 1st, and it was about 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. And when I was looking at the moon from here, and I thought, well, she's off from the other night. And from where I could guess, it was about 10, 20, maybe 20 degrees off. That was earlier tonight. Now, in today or tonight or whatever is going on, it's managed to roll another 12, 15 degrees from moonrise on the 31st till now the 1st. So in 8 hours time, the Earth has rolled up again. I say it's rolled. Wait a minute. Yeah. If the moon is straight overhead, South Georgia had to roll north in order for the moon to go south. Either that or the moon is moving all around by itself. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think the moon's moving by itself. However, like I said the other night, I could not see the man in the moon. It's almost like someone had taken the moon and pulled it further away from the planet. And then 3 hours later, I came back out and I looked at the moon and I could see the face on it real easy. And I was like, okay, I couldn't get a picture of it. It didn't show up. I tried to go live and I had issues. So I'm doing this on the fly, like, 6 o'clock in the a.m. Eastern Daylight Time here in South Georgia. And that's where the moon is. I'm telling you, folks, it's not setting where it's supposed to be. I can't. I'm standing here and I'm doing this in disbelief. Okay. The moon ain't supposed to be there. It's supposed to be behind my head. I mean, directly behind you should not be able to see the moon from where I'm standing right now. Instead, it's way, and I'm talking about, this is way out of whack. Okay. Because my house is tilted at a 15-degree angle. It's a solar house. And I've mentioned this before in my past videos. But for the moon to set straight behind me 2 nights ago, it was like, that makes sense. Okay. It all makes sense now. That's really creepy to see the moon where it's at right now. Because like I said, in 2 days time, the moon has went from right over the top of my house to sitting way back over there. It's not right, y'all. It's not right. And now it looks like a blue moon in the video, but when I look at it straight on, it's not. That is west. That's setting. If I was to have my compass out, it's setting in the west southwest instead of west. Get out your compass and look where west is, and then also look where southwest is. Okay. And that's how much we've moved in 2 days. And I'm saying that from where it was earlier coming up from the east to where it's setting now. Marie, hey there, I see you. I see you. I'm in South Georgia. Are you the Australian lady? I think. I figured out how I can see the moon high up and how you can see the moon high up. And I had the video ready and was going to do it, and I can't find it now. But it has to do with the fact that good evening to you and my good morning from here, Miss Marie. It's how the earth, let's see, the positive side of 2012 is the YouTube channel. And he did a video about 2 weeks ago, something about the flood coming is not going to come or something. The moon's starting to rise there. Well, check it out and see where it's rising, because it's setting in the wrong dang place here. And I mean, in 2 days' time, where I'm standing at my front porch, where I've been before, the moon should be straight behind my head. You should not be able to see the moon. And for where it's at now, it's about 20 degrees off in 2 days' time. And from where I said earlier in this video that I watched the moon rise, and it was off, but not too bad. And for the last 2 weeks, the moon's been, it looked like straight up overhead. Nothing really to report. But in these last 2 days, and especially today, the moon, holy mackerel. What, I don't have my glasses. I heard that planet X is apparently causing magnetic shift with the Earth wobble. That is part of it. There are so many more exoplanets in our solar system. It's not just planet X. It's planet X and Y and Z and A1 and A2 and B3. And there are a lot of new planets in our solar system. They're not reporting them. If you watch those Sechi and the LASCO and all those solar satellite images, you can see groups of 5, 6, 7 alien spacecraft appearing beside the sun, move over another frame, and then disappear. There are so many humongous size exoplanets in our solar system right now. It's not just planet X. However, we're also getting bombarded by huge amounts of cosmic rays. I listened to a report last night. I think it was Paul Lavalette, and he was talking about the cosmic rays. And one of his reports was that other physicists were not believing that the X-rays and gamma rays and all these other funky rays that they've been observing here recently, that nobody believed that they actually went all the way through the Earth. Well, they've been doing testing, and guess what? Some of these things, they go down miles and miles and miles with these sensors, and the sensors are going off like mad because these rays are going all the way through the Earth. They're heating up the Earth like you would heat up in a baked potato in a microwave. That's what's happening. It's not the magnetics. It's a little bit of electrical because there are new bodies in our solar system. But the biggest thing are the gammas and the delta waves and the waves they can't even explain that are heating up the earth like a baked potato. And guess what? We're expanding. I saw a report the other day, and the guys are like, "Oh, we think the earth is expanding." Volcanic the volcanoes going off is the result. I mean, if you overbake a potato, what happens? It starts spewing steam out the things, and you look good looking gooey and icky. That's the result of the overheating from the inside, not the outside. Now we've been getting nailed by regular the solar well, the gamma rays, and I can't remember the other ones anyway. But there are reports coming up from all around the earth. I stay in touch with Mr. MBB333 and Dutch Sense and Secure Team 10, BP Earthwatch. I'm dropping these folks not for any particular reason other than I use their sites to check in. And so what I observe personally, and then what is going on in the world, as you might say, and I'm here to tell you, the water that's disappearing, just getting pulled out to sea. I mean, I grew up in Tampa, and when I saw pictures of Tampa Bay dry and people out there walking out in front of Bayshore Boulevard, I can't believe it. Now that happened last summer, so that's almost a year ago, but there are instances that have been happening all around the world where the water is just being drained out of estuaries, rivers. Now, with all the rain we've had recently, we got flooding in certain parts of the United States, which in a way is good. I haven't watched Dutch in a while. There is a lot of activity going on. I mean, it's amazing how much activity is going on. And the good news is the galactics, if you want to believe in the space brothers or sisters, the galactics have said that they have lined up some of the huge spaceships to try to slow down so that the Earth doesn't explode like all the prophecies say it's supposed to do. And I know I've had my own prophecies that happened in 2013, and I wrote them up, told folks, and almost everything that was related to me in my dreams and so forth have happened and are happening right now. But the huge earthquake that's supposed to really just rip us to shreds is not happening. Doesn't mean that there aren't huge earthquakes and that the volcanoes, because they're going off just unbelievable. I mean, for the first time, from the first of this year, there were more earthquakes in certain areas than all of last year already. Now, they're magnitude 5 or less. That's not the point. If folks will go back about 10 or 12 years ago, the USGS got together and they said, you know what? We're going to change magnitude. So what a magnitude 1 is now is going to actually be sort of 0. So everything is actually 1 magnitude more than it was 15 years ago. So if somebody said, woo, that was a magnitude 7, now that would be considered a 6. Does that make sense? So what used to be a 7 is now a 6. So a 7, actually, if we get a report from a 7, it's actually stronger than it was 15 years ago because they changed the data. They changed the line where a 1 or a 2 was. And so when you see a magnitude 7, that's technically an 8 and so forth. Now, I'm freaking out this morning because that ain't supposed to be there. I mean, I shouldn't be able to see the moon except through these trees that are very dense right behind my head here. And it's like, nope, it's way over there. So What's happening? I wished I had that video ready, but it clearly shows, he shows the Earth in our normal spin, and then he shows it 18 degrees off. And what the 18 degrees from where they're calculating the North Pole to go, magnetic North Pole to go. Also, Drake said last week on Sam Muggsy that if you think all the stars and everything were wrong, you're right. They had trouble with the moon. They had to do some repositioning, and that was like 2 weeks ago. Now, if you want to catch up on some of this stuff, I suggest you watch Dr. Sam Muggsy. What is it? 2 Neotech, I think. And she interviews Drake Bailey and Kent Dunn, and they discuss things in the quantum galactic level. And you can believe them or not. However, every time I have issues with the sun or the moon and the stars, a week or so later, Drake or one of them will come up and go, hey, did you see that the moon was wrong and the stars were wrong? And blah, well, they're back. And they were back. For almost 2 weeks, they were back. Now, it's way out of whack again. Whatever's going on up yonder and out there, we are wobbling, my friends, big, big, big time. So we're expecting larger quakes then. And you can see the moon just through the trees. Yeah. I got to go sit down, and then get out of this. It's kind of chilly out here, and I did not dress for this. Let me come back here through the dark. Through the dark. Almost. Find my little sit-down place in my chair. It's almost 5:30 here. I'm sorry. I didn't change my clock. I'm being a rebellious sort for now. And I hate the time change. And every time the time changes, I do go through this clock thing. And I decided I wasn't changing my clock this time. But it's 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight, 6:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And from here in South Georgia, the moon ain't right. Now, what's expected? What's expected is more quakes, because the galactics are trying to reduce the effects of the cosmic rays upon the Earth. That's basically it in a nutshell. It's 8:25 p.m. here. Daylight savings ended. Daylight savings ended? Yeah, we're supposed to get more quakes, but now we'll have to see. We're going to have to see whether or not the galactics are right about this. But we are supposed to get continued earthquakes, but nothing's supposed to blow up and kill a bunch of people. Now, if you live at the foot of a volcano, then you take your own risk. It's just like if you live on the San Andreas Fault. They had a big report last couple of days about their, oh man, there's a little fault that comes off of the San Andreas and runs through the hills down there in California. I think Dutch was talking about it the other night too. And this thing's ready to blow. I mean, it's supposed to be on a slow slip, and it's not. It has stopped. It's hung up on itself. And the galactics are trying their best to lubricate it with lava from underneath the planet. Now, that's their plan. And so far, it's worked pretty good. But there are some deep earthquakes going on. And USGS has even stopped reporting some of the detectors. And when I go out to try to do my little earthquake watch check, I go to the individual sites where there is a monitor. And I don't wait for USGS to post it. I go to the place and look at their monitor individually, sort of like Mary Greeley does with Yellowstone. But we're feeling earthquakes down here in Southwest Georgia. I mean, there's earthquakes going on over in Mississippi, for goodness sakes. There's earthquakes. There's been whole swarms in the last year and a half up around Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Northwest Georgia, Northeast Alabama, and Tennessee, in that area up in there. There have been a whole slew of earthquakes going on up there. And I used to go up there all the time. In fact, I still have friends that live up in there, but to the point that, one of the quakes about a couple of months ago was like a 3, and it threw cups and things off of the shelf and broke them on the floor, kind of thing. And they were like, "This is Chattanooga, and we're not supposed to be having earthquakes in Chattanooga, and it rattled a bunch of them up there in Tennessee, which would be eastern. Chattanooga is almost in the middle. But anyway, I digress with that. But so the Galactics report that the earthquakes are going to continue because the Earth is expanding. There were some big earthquakes on the Atlantic Ridge this last couple of weeks. Of all the places to get hit, they've been hitting off of the coast of Spain, Portugal, right there at where the Rock of Gibraltar is, off of the coast of, let's see, that's Northern Africa, Morocco, maybe. Anyway, where the Straits of Gibraltar are, the north side is Portugal. I think it's Morocco on the south side. Anyway, off the coast there are what some scientists and archaeology persons would claim are the remnants of Atlantis. And that is partially correct. Now, way back when all of that got flooded, and they're having earthquakes out there now where these little islands are. And so folks are all around. I mean, when I looked at Dutch Sense the other night and all the stuff that was going on in the Mediterranean, them poor folks over there in Italy and Greece, them folks are getting hammered. But also the crack that's going down through Africa is actually growing. For Africa, they've had some huge earthquakes on the eastern side of Africa. And Dutch went through this thing a few days ago, and he started up out on Ethiopia and went down, and there's a long chain of volcanoes in Africa I didn't know existed. I knew there were a couple, but I didn't know that there was like this ring of fire kind of thing that heads down mostly on the eastern side of the continent of Africa. And just surprised at the landscape, I guess, and the fact that they're going off. Hasn't killed any people or anything like that. I got to put my glasses on and see this thing's moving. Right, you guys are going into autumn, and this is our spring. The quakes are happening, Mohammed. Yeah, the quakes are happening because of the cosmic rays heating up the earth like a baked potato in a microwave. That is the simplest way to put it. And the earth wobble is because so much ice is melted. It's reforming, but in different places. So I use the analogy of a wheel weight being off of a tire on your car. And so the earth is out of balance big time. You take a little bit of water there, I can't look for it now. I'd get all goofed up, but it's the positive side of 2012. And it's the YouTube videos, and he tries to show, and he discusses the galactics also, which his information was slightly different. Or I guess it's almost been 2 weeks now. I saw the post. Yes, it is shifting the seas as well. But and I mean, just take a bucket and fill it half full of water and swing it around a little bit, and then try to stop that bucket when you're swinging it around. If you try to stop that bucket, the water is going to go like this. It's going to slosh. We are sloshing big time. Why has water disappeared in certain places? I mean, like I said earlier in this one, I lived in Tampa. I grew up in Tampa. I used to sail where people were walking last summer. I can't imagine the amount of water that was drained out of Tampa Bay. And friends of mine were taking pictures of walking out there between the Bayshore Boulevard and what is called Davis Island, and where Tampa General Hospital is where my father passed away. And so it's like these folks were walking out there just with not ankle deep of water. I was surprised they weren't sinking into the mud. But so the earth wobble is two things. Generally, it's the lava which is being heated up from the inside of the earth with all these gamma cosmic rays. Okay, pick them. There's a bunch of them. And as much as the mainstream scientists, because you won't find this mainstream, Michio Kaku, the Japanese Oriental physicist, he's come the closest to admitting the truth. But the other guy, I force him out of my brain because he is just so wrong. The half black gentleman who is, I can't think of his name, who's all this and that, and he's so right with physics, and he is so wrong. He's being proved wrong almost every day now. He should just shut up because he's embarrassing himself, especially to people who have a little bit of a brain and can look at things. I mean, I use my little protractor to, which isn't sitting right here. I use a dollar piece of plastic to check my angles. It's very effective. I don't have to have a $1 million telescope to tell me that the moon's sitting in the wrong place. And don't try to tell me I'm a crazy old codger, which I know I already am, but I'm a crazy old codger, but I know where the damn moon sets. I got two eyes and I can observe, because that's what science is. Observation. I saw an article on Venice where the water had drained, or previously been lifted up. Yep. Yeah. I mean, and here's the other thing too about this, Marie. All the water drained out of Venice, and then just recently they froze. All of those gondolas and everything in Venice were frozen in the water, and people were going up and down and ice skating. Wait a minute. That might have been Denmark. Hang on. That was Denmark. It wasn't Venice. It was Denmark, where all the canals froze. But to the point, canals froze and drained. I don't think it was Venice that froze. I think I got that one wrong. But the canals did freeze, because I was like, anybody that has a boat and that gets stuck in the water and gets frozen there, these folks were ice skating up and down the canals, and I'm thinking about those poor folks. Their boats are going to be trashed, because when the water freezes around the boats, it has a tendency to crush their hulls. So I don't know how much damage them folks are going to go through with that. But if you look at things just from a practical standpoint, and just literally just throw the BS out, and like Mr. MBB333 has had some very interesting videos, and showing that there are flashes happening over the United States. It's probably happening other places too, but it's where the sky is actually getting darker and brighter at night. And folks have been observing this as far south as Athens, Georgia, which is about 240 miles almost due north of me. Well, it depends on where north is right now, right? That they could see auroras. Just like it's probably been a week ago now, but auroras in North Georgia. Are you serious? And Athens isn't even at the Tennessee border. So if Athens saw it, then the folks in Chattanooga and all along the western boundary of North Carolina, South Carolina, the tip up in there, those folks, everybody should have seen it. Now, the other odd thing about that is that from where I sit, Thomasville is straight south of me by 20 miles as the crow flies. And I can see the lights at night, and it got a little halo in the sky, depending on how much moisture's there. And way off to this direction, which is to my southeast, is a big town called Valdosta, Georgia. It's a big college town. But now that's about 60 miles that way. And I can see a little bit of orange halo glow from that city. Now, the other little towns that are near me are like less than 1,000 people. They got a few traffic light. They got a traffic light, one traffic light. This other town I go to has no traffic light. That's how small they are. It's got a little store and a gas station, maybe 2 little convenience stores and a couple of buildings, very small town. So when I look out my windows out here and I see this big orange glow in the sky between me and what would be Thomasville, I have to ask myself, there's nothing there. What the hell is, and I'm talking about orange glow, light up the sky, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Real bright. Can't videotape it though. I don't have a camera that's sensitive enough to pick it up, but I can see it. And it's like, then I come out a couple hours later, it's gone. Now I can still see the lights in Thomasville. They're low on the horizon and I see them and they're not orange. So I don't know where these orange glow stuff is coming from, but it's happened. Let's see, this is the 1st of April. It started, I guess, about the middle of February. I'd see a glow that away and see a glow that away towards Valdosta. And I'd see one almost due east of me, having nothing to do with the moon or anything like that. And this orange light, I have no idea where it's coming from, but it's localized like it was a town. Like you could see a town off in the distance and you can see their halo. There's nothing between me and Thomasville. It's nothing but woods and swamp when it rains. Nothing is there. So I don't know where these lights are coming from. Now, other people have been noticing lights and things, but I can't vouch for where they are in the real world kind of thing. But I do know that where I'm at, orange lights appeared in the sky. Let's see. The orange is like an atmospheric reflection rather than there's an orange ball in the sky. Now, I did see an orange ball in the sky earlier this evening, and it was flashing like a variable star left and right. And it was down towards, which would be my southeast, and it was below the moon. And I was coming back from the store, and this thing was just going off like gangbusters. I got home and put up my groceries, came outside to look at it with my close-up binoculars, and it was gone. I couldn't find it. The moon came up a little more, and, it should have been, this far down from the moon over in here. It's gone. I couldn't find it. And when I went out earlier, I couldn't find it where the moon was about 10 or 12 degrees out from my house. dropped down, figured, well, that bright starish thing should not there, no flicker. And I mean, it was bright. At first, I thought it was an airplane, except that it didn't move. When I got home, the top of my driveway, I could see it plainly. It had not moved. Come down the driveway, could still see it. Put my groceries away. 20 minutes later, got my binoculars. It's gone. Don't know where it went. So there are some strange things going on in the sky. And I have been instructed to tell folks, calm down. If you live near the ocean, be aware that, that rogue waves can come out of nowhere. And they've proven this, that, whoa, that's nasty. Oh, excuse me. Had to go off camera to do that one. And as it just by the way, question before I knock this off, I got to take my meds. I just did this on the fly, and I've been at this for almost 45 minutes. Bless you all down there, wherever you are. The message that I've been getting is we can't freak out about this, but we do have to tell other folks, look, you need to look at where that moon is tonight. You need to look at it tomorrow night. You need to observe it yourself, because when you see it with your own two eyes, me or anybody else or no physicist or whatever is going to be able to lie to you, and they're not going to be able to lie to you. That's all. So I don't care what mainstream science says. I am a scientist. I've been studying science since I'm 65 years old, and I've been studying science since I was 8 years old in the Cub Scouts. Okay. Do I have a PhD? No, I have a life degree. And my life degree and my life's observations don't lie to me. That is what science is observation. And they have, the big study is out, is that they performed one group of scientists performed this physics experiment. This ain't true. Another group came along, and they're simply by their observations, Group A said, no, it didn't work. Group B said it worked fine for them, and they could prove it. Now, what was the difference? The difference was who was doing the observation. And they have found out through quantum mechanics that our thoughts can change a particular outcome of an experiment. Now, I can't move the earth and I can't move the moon with my thoughts as to where it's setting. Observations of a laser beam on a small scale, I can see that. So they're trying to tell us that we're nuts and that we can't observe because we're not paid scientists. Now, also, R. Wayne Steiger has a report on Monday evenings with a physicist, and it's called The Philosopher and the Physicist. And this lady has come up with some absolutely jam up stuff, but none of the other physicists will even acknowledge that she's there. Oh, I see the chat moving. Hang on. Let me catch up. Wait. Venus is just behind the sun as it is setting. It just sat on the edge of the sun's height gauge. Yeah. Yeah, they're paid liars, all right. And I can't remember this physicist's name, but it's R. Wayne Steiger. And Monday evenings, he does a live show. And the physicist has written several papers observing naturally what she can see, but coming up with her own conclusion rather than accepting the standard model, because the standard model is not working here. And so they're trying to, the North Pole magnetics is going to end up over here. They don't have a clue. Is it moving? Oh, yeah, you betcha. and it has picked up speed. Now, I contend that the reason they can't track it is because we're in such a wobble like this, that Australia is getting closer to the equator and should technically be sinking. However, because of the Earth expansion, Australia has been saved from flooding because, and just 2 days ago, they were saying that Australia, the plate of Australia was moving faster than any of the other plates on the planet, and that it was moving towards India. Now, when I was a kid and globes and stuff looking at it, Australia seemed like it was way down here. It wasn't anywhere near anything. 65 years later, Australia's almost into India kind of thing. I'm like, what? So the last time I was talking with you, Miss Marie, I was trying to figure out how can how can the moon be high in the sky for you and high in the sky for me? That don't make sense. Well, if you take the Earth and rotate it correctly, I was rotating it in the wrong direction, as it were. And the model that I saw showed that we had flipped in an odd kind of way. And so that Australia was closer to the equator. And no wonder it's been hotter in Australia, I believe. Didn't y'all have a really bad summer last year or this year? What? Anyway, you've had some bad. It would also make sense as to why the Gulf Stream has almost slowed down, has almost changed direction. The Gulf of Mexico, just south of me, by about 100 miles south of me, we used to get storms that come in on a regular basis off the Gulf. We don't have it anymore. I've had more rain in the month of March than I had in 7 months last year. And it's like 4 inches of rain this month. I didn't have 4 inches of rain for 7 months last year. 7 months, no rain. I'm talking about, thank God I've got 2,000-gallon tanks because my well had dried up. I mean, I couldn't even take a shower. There wasn't enough water to take a spit shower in my well. That's how dry it got. And this month, excuse me, I got to take my meds. This month, it has been absolutely wonderful. We've got normal rainfall. Now, I've got the Little Ochlockonee River in my backyard, and it has not flowed yet this year. Even with all the rain, it's not flowing. It was so low, the water is still trying. The water won't even make it to the river, where before, if we had a 2-inch rain, which we had last week, we had 1 inch and 1/10 on Friday. I came over the river on the way back from the store, got out with a flashlight, went underneath the bridge. The river is not flowing. And it should be. It should be. We've had normal rainfall this month, and the river is not flowing. It's not real low, but it's nowhere near what a normal flow should be. So the rivers here in South Georgia, and in the South in general, I might add. Now, when you go towards Alabama, they've had a lot more rain than we have. But from the Alabama-Georgia line east, none of the rivers are flowing correctly. None of them. And they haven't for years. I think it was 2015 was the last time my river flooded. And it used to flood 3 or 4 times a year. Easy. We'd get a 2 or 3 inch rain over, a week's time, and a river would come up and my place would turn half swamp. And at least one time every year, it would flood where I'd go out my back step and it would be water for a half a mile. Little islands pop up everywhere. That hasn't happened in 3 years. 3 years. We haven't had any normal water. The aquifers around here are drying up. The farmers are using the water twice as much because they're not getting any rain. So the groundwater is down. It's unbelievable. What's going to happen? Well, there's still going to be a whole lot of shaking going on. And the earth, well, she hasn't found her balance yet. And you and me and our neighbors, we're just going to have to be patient and be aware of where we live. Now, I noticed that years ago, Creator tried to get me to move to Arkansas, and I did. Let's see. Oh, wow. That's true. It's getting hotter. Yeah, okay. So if Australia is getting hotter, that would make sense because it's moving higher up to the where the new equator is supposed to be. East Coast mostly been eaten by tides each year. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And there was another place I can't remember. It might have been on the West Coast though. It was in England, UK, that houses that they've been sitting on the edge of the beach for years are now like falling in. Unbelievable the amount of ocean and beach erosion in like a year. Precipitation off the islands are high bit. Yeah, rain season is off too. Yeah. Do y'all have monsoons down, or did you used to have a monsoon season? Water assumes the shape of whatever container it's in. So it is the ground that is moving, that is displacing the water. Absolutely. Hi, Levette. How are you, my dear? You still in Vegas out there? Oh, so you're in monsoon now. Okay. Oh, good. I keep praying for you, Levette, and hoping things are being at least fair to you in your world. I know that a lot of people have just not been things have just not been fair. I don't know how else to put it. When I kind of sort of had a little argument going on with myself, and it has to do with the fact that folks that I really looked up to these last few years, who have given me absolute wonderful little nuggets to help me along in my, for lack of a better word, my spiritual growth. And they've all turned sour. The folks that I really respect have all turned sour, and I don't know how else to put it. I don't want to, mention any names or anything, but some of these folks are well known in the underground community, and I'm listening to them, and they're picking on folks I say like me, where this hopium. Everybody gets up in the morning and then this hopium crap and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute. I wake up every morning with hope. If I didn't have hope, I'd have went ahead and jumped off a bridge a long time ago. These folks need to stop this hopium mess. I'm sorry, but they got to stop this negative speech. And these are people I respected. And they're like, all these people, all these new agers. Hey, we're all new agers in this mess. Ain't nothing that we think is the truth. I mean, the Pope the other day, there is no hell. Bad people disappear. Hey, all righty then. Well, what happened to purgatory? I was raised a Catholic. I was raped by a Catholic priest, for God's sakes. Cut it out. And the Pope, this and that and Jesus. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, you're messing with doctrine. You're messing with 1 billion people's heads. We have to have hope. We have to have hope. And for these guru folks that I'm calling them gurus. I looked up to them. They had mystical, magical, good words. They're all turned sour. And is it the time? They talk about, well, this person over here, and they're naming names of each other. Well, this person thinks that they're going to ascend. They don't know. And I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa. First off, if you believe in the ascension process, the first thing you should not do is judge another person as to whether or not they're going to make it. And so for these people who I used to look up to, I look at them now and go, what the hell happened to you? I mean, really, what happened to you? I believed not as I'm going to follow you and listen to everything you say. No, but a person who has good ideas you want to listen to, and they can help you along your way. But these folks have turned 180 degrees out from where I think their thought pattern should be. They shouldn't be ragging on other folks, number one. If somebody doesn't get it and they're not coming along with you, don't turn around and cuss them. And these people are doing that. They're calling them F-wads and blah, 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 and stupid this. And I mean, I've literally had to unsubscribe from a couple of these people because they absolutely turned mean. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. 2 years ago, you guys had really good thoughts and you were helping me along where I couldn't find anybody to listen to, talk to, or even come close to where I thought my head was at. And I'm not saying I'm better than them, because I'm not judging, but I can't listen anymore because there's so much negative coming out of them. I come to them for some hope. Hope that there are people who are having issues like I am, who are having issues with all these cosmic rays, who are wondering why science won't tell us the truth and the earth wobbling and this and that. But then to turn around and go, well, Dave, you're just full of that crap like everybody else. I mean, they told that to me in the chat. I'm like, well, what? And I was trying to be positive and, it's not so bad. And they literally just cussed me out. And I said, bye. Adios. And I didn't say anything against them. I was just asking them for, why would you look at it this way? I thought your position on this matter was this. Holy crap. Oh, bye. I'm sorry. What happened to you? So these energies are affecting what I would consider the good folks in negative ways. And the idea is that we're supposed to be clearing our negatives so that we can move forward, so that we can change our frequencies, so that this ascension of just to a higher frequency, whether we blip in or out is another story, but that's another story. I've had some timelines change that there was something sitting on the table and I went outside, fed the chickens, came back, and that object was gone. I mean, there's some weird dimensional shifts things going on around us right now. Interesting. Interesting. I was seeing colored dimensional shapes in my mind's eye the other morning. I guess it would have been Thursday. And it started out as a little small green dot and grew to not a circle, circular, because it was not defined. It was nice and bright in the middle and then just kind of faded out around the edges. And it didn't stay circular total. It kind of morphed a little bit like egg-shaped, a little oblong. And then the color changed from a green to sort of red. And it changed from a circle-ish to a square. And it was a pretty red, not like a Satan red. It wasn't. I've seen red orbs before, and they just literally scared the crap out of me. This wasn't that kind of a red. In fact, it actually was more towards the maroon. And then this square maroon shape morphed into a really beautiful purple violet light, and then went back to a roundish circular kind of display. I've been meditating for a long time. I've never had that happen. So whatever's going on, in my opinion, that was way cool. And I was able to focus on the green and the light to keep it from dissipating. And I actually was able to get the green, all of the colors actually, to get brighter. So that was just really cool. Now, and that was just the other day. So I know there are some strange things going on. And I got to take my meds. But to the folks who are I say my gurus, who have turned sour, I have seen in other chats and things, kind of hanging out in the background with other folks, and I've noticed that there are 5 times as many people who are going, I didn't used to speak up. I used to just watch, but now I'm speaking up in the chats because they're asking questions, and I'm like, yeah, that happened just the other day to me. And so I'm speaking to somebody in Canada, or like you, Marie, down in Australia. I'm speaking to people around the world, and all these different people who are not gurus in any sense of the word are having the same feelings as this person, me, that person, this person, you, that person over here, blah, 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 blah. So we are our own gurus. And I continue this little, I'm sorry. When someone has nothing intelligent to say, they resort to insult. Oh, yeah, Mark Twain, one of my favorites. Yeah. Did a few things back in the day when I was into theater a lot. I did almost 100 different shows. Not to be condescending. Ascension is overcome duality, and there is no competition. Absolutely. If anything, it's a personal competition. It's me against me, because if I'm carrying negative baggage, I'm the one that has to get rid of it. Stay in your truth. Yes, Levette. I'm reading off of this. The harvest is ripe, and now you can feel the wheat from the tares. True colors. Yep. I subscribe to your channel a bit. You knowingly on the stars is very advanced. I know you have to go back to the beginning to your videos. Is that all new information was absorbed? Yes. And for all the little craziness, I looked at my website. I'm just an old hippie hermit that lives down in the woods down here in Southwest Georgia. Why would they block what I say? Why would they crash my computer? I'm not speaking negative about anybody. I am trying to speak positively about things. I've been locked out of Facebook. I can't even get to it. And that's not a biggie, except that I would like to be able to tell my friends and family I'm still alive. They don't even know my phone number. The other night, my house phone, which has had phone numbers in it for years, suddenly had this bleep, 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 beeped a couple of times, and it erased every phone number in my memory. Every single phone number in my memory is gone now from this phone. And to boot, it just changed today. This is a digital phone hooked up to a landline. And when the time changes, it should change. It has not updated until this morning. It says 6:09 a.m. Well, no, it's still wrong. This digital hooked up to a landline is still not on Eastern Daylight Time. It's still on Standard Time. My computer says 7:08. This is hooked up to the digital thing. If I call up Windstream here in South Georgia, so how come this digital phone is still an hour off and hasn't been updated? I'm just an old hippie down here in the woods. I don't bother nobody, don't go nowhere, I don't make no waves. Why did it do this to my phone? I mean, my sisters, my brothers, all up in Ohio, I don't have their phone numbers because I was depending on this little gizmo right here. Somewhere I got them wrote down, I'm hoping, but that's not the point. Why did it erase all my phone numbers? Why hasn't it updated the time? I don't know if you. No, you can't see it, but it says 609, 610. And this is hooked up to the wireless thing, and it says 7. So why doesn't this say 7? So whatever's going on, it's messing with a bunch of stuff. He will take the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. Oh, Mercury retrograde. I forgot about that. Yeah. Absolutely. Mercury retrograde. Well, Levette, how much longer do we have for the retrograde? It ought to be about over, ain't it? Or is it just beginning good? I thought about 2 weeks ago that we were in a retrograde and it was about over. Or do we still have time left on that? And what's happening in America, Marie? A bunch of stuff. People are going nuts over here. This QAnon phenom. Ho! What I see, May 15th. Oh, criminy. We got that long? Oh, man. That'll make it almost makes me want to cry, Levette. Another damn 6 weeks. Holy crap. This too shall pass, right? Well, I'm curious as to what's going to come up, because from an economic standpoint, and from, if you listen to the Galactics at all, they said things are going to be changing. And I got to say that Drake mentioned something the other day that I had all this wrote down and was going to do a really nice organized kind of thing. And I just turned on the computer this morning at 5 and said, okay, we're going to do this live now. Boom. And here I am. But Drake said something about how the, oh man, what was going to happen with the change of the gold back Chinese yuan and what it's going to do to the American dollar. Well, they're trying desperately to keep the crash from crashing. However, something's got to give, and it's going to happen. Mercury is debilitated in Pisces, and it is retrograde, and it is combust to the sun. Triple play on communication breakdowns. And you know what? Between some peoples I've seen, like the guru syndrome that I brought up, people turning sour all of a sudden. I mean, just like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Love light. Oh, screw you. Go F off and blah, blah, blah. So Mercury's with the commerce too. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I hope the reset is coming. I really do, because it should. And with the Chinese and the Russians on their own dollar, as it were, Saudi Arabia, all them folks down there are getting together. And even Trump said something the other day about, won't be too long and them boys in Syria be coming home. There's no real reason for us to be there. Well, whoa, that sounds like a positive thing. all these weirdos here in America are like, and I even hate to use the word weirdo, but I can't believe it. Trump called up Putin and congratulating him for winning his election, and they jumped all over that man. I did vote for Trump, and I'm proud to say I did, because what other choice? but not only that, I mean, who would have, anybody in their right mind would vote for Hillary? I mean, some of my earlier posts of 2 years ago was like, if Hillary gets elected, we're all going to die. You know, I think I left that video up just so somebody could go back and say, see, this is how I felt back then, you know. Now, to the good point, though, I see positive changes coming. I do. Man, if your tooth hurts, which I got one I'm trying to pull myself right now, I can't afford a damn dentist. Oh, and by the way, I'm on Social Security. I'm on, you know, they take $150 a month out of my paycheck of $1,000 to pay for my health care. How come I can't go to a damn dentist? A dentist down here is $200 a tooth, plus x-rays, plus the thing. You can't walk, you can't get your teeth fixed. I have pulled 3 of my bottom, 2 from up on top. I can't save enough money to go to a dentist, and they went down payments. My credit card, it went out years ago. And, you know, when I was on Social Security, they're like, well, you can't have a credit card because you're on Social Security now. So, so I've learned how to take care of my own teeth, but I've got another infection. I mean, you know, pus and blood, yuck, yuck, yuck. But when it quits hurting, boy, does it feel good. And that's what's going to happen with the economy. It's going to hurt some folks, but it's going to feel good at the end. Oh man, excuse me. I'm gonna finish up here and take my meds, but one thing I want to say that wait, I see this little thing moving over here. I hate to do the glasses. I have Mercury conjunction Sun in retrograde in my birth chart. Yeah, our healthcare system. And oh my gosh, everybody's like, well, during the elections, Bernie Sanders was talking about, you know, Medicare for all. And we're like, well, Bernie, you're a socialist. Well, now everybody's like, you know what? That sounds like a pretty good idea. Well, if they put a 1% sales tax, like Bernie said, on transactions on Wall Street, there would be enough money made from that tax alone, from the transactions, to pay for everybody in the United States to have health care and dental. And I did some checking. Now, this was almost 2 years ago, right? He's right. And some other folks come up with it, and they were like, you know, Bernie's right on with this. So with a simple tax to the rich folks, and if the rich folks didn't have a $100,000 cap on Social Security, so a millionaire makes $1 million a year. Okay, we'll just pick one. He only has to pay Social Security on the first $100,000. That's the cap on Social Security. Now, if I make $10,000 in a year, I still have to pay the same amount. There's no cap on me. You know, if anything, the rich folks should be they can afford to pay the Social Security tax. But because they're rich, they only have to pay Social Security on the first $100,000. So the healthcare system in America is being subsidized by the poor folk, because anybody that makes over $100,000 doesn't have to pay in Social Security. It's a cap. But when they turn 65, they get $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. Me, I get $1,000, $1,000 a month, $1,000, and that's after 5 years of increases, which only went to the insurance companies. They didn't even send me an insurance card this year, and I've called them twice. I still don't have an insurance card for my Social Security this year. So I have tried to get medicine. I've tried to go to the doctor, but because they can't find my insurance card number. Oh, but they take it out of my pay every month, you bet your ass. I don't have a card. So I'm 65 on Social Security, but they haven't sent me an insurance card. And I can't go to the doctor because they're like, well, where's your card, Dave? Well, we knew you had, but every year they change insurance companies. So the card I had last year is no good. And there's nothing to relate it to. They type in my Social Security number and they go, well, you got a number, but you're going to have to get with Social Security. I've gotten with Social Security twice. Oh, we're sending it right out. I still don't know what my Medicare insurance carrier is for the year 2018. I still don't have a card. I'm living off of 1/3 the amount of medicine I should be taking because I can't have a prescription filled. Oh, but Social Security, Medicare for all. If you make more than $100,000, you don't have to pay in. Is that really fair? Now, to wrap up this little tirade, a person who makes $100,000 a year, that's not fair. No. That's no. I know people who have made $1 million. I'm serious that are millionaires. Now, they don't live in a huge mansion or anything like that. I'm reading what Marie said. I went through a cancer Medicare and didn't pay a cent for treatment. Only had to pay for 2 needles, $3 each, but worth $2,000 a pop. Yeah, we pay a fortune here. I love that. You're wonderful. Jason and the Argonauts are still fleecing the sheep. I just saw, I watched that movie, Jason and the Argonauts, the other night, as a matter of fact, on one of the old TV stations on the Roku. Yes, America's going to have great wrath. So the people that I know that have earned $1 million, not necessarily in a year, but they have $1 million. Now they've got a little farm, a little tractor, and this and that. My son, through an inheritance, I shouldn't say this, a whole bunch of money. I haven't seen my son in 8 years. I asked him to help me with my teeth. I would pay him back. I asked for a loan from my son who makes well over $100,000 a year, plus the a death on the other side of one of his family members was a huge pile of money. I'm talking over $500,000 worth of inheritance, plus his over $100,000 a year income. He won't even return my phone calls or emails. God bless you, son. All I wanted was to raise a loan to get my teeth pulled. I don't even care if I get teeth back. I just want these out. I can't afford it. Don't have anything to sell. These people who have $1 million, they didn't have $1 million or $100,000, $200,000 a year. They didn't have that kind of money. But now that they have it, they won't give up a $10 bill. I mean, I'm ashamed of my son because he would give you the shirt off his back. Now he won't give you a dime, not a penny. I mean, not even to his father. Okay, you could be mad at me for things that happened when you were growing up, but haven't you grown up? I mean, you're 44 years old, for gosh sakes. And of all the things that I have given you, not lent you, but given you, cars, money, place to live, all he doesn't want to have anything to do with me. Well, he doesn't want to have anything to do with his mother either. So he's a Gemini. Ooh. Anyway, he's turned his back on his family. And, he's driving a BMW. He's got this, he's got that, he's got his business, blah, blah, blah. And, he's got one son, nice wife, but he married into money. his wife's side, they got a big farm, huge tractors, not on a little plaything, 180 acres versus 18, which is what I have. And my little lawn tractor broke down years ago. But to the point, when he got the money, he went from, here, I'm going to share with you and you and you and you and you and you. He went from a heart of gold to a heart of stone. Now, maybe he gives money to somebody. He started going. He didn't used to go to church. Our church was meditating and reading, different enlightening things and this and that. And he traveled around and studied Buddha and I Ching and all of the things. And then he went to Christianity. And then as soon as he turned into a Christian, can't believe I'm saying this, he got stingy. As soon as he started going to a Christian Baptist church, I ain't going to put it on the Baptist, but as soon as he started going to a Christian church, he hadn't helped out his family at all. Not his mama, not me. Now his sister, she's kind of married into some money too, but to the point, he's not helping out Joe Blow down on the street. Oh, no, because he owns a business now and he's making the good money. And I'm proud for him. It would take me 4 years to make what he makes in a year now. And he wonders why we were so poor and why I had to work all the time. Well, when you only make a little over minimum wage most of your life because of the economic structure of South Georgia, and I couldn't get anything else because I had a felony record, nobody would hire me. Do you think he'd take care of his old man or his mother for that matter? No. Not a penny. Not a phone call, not a happy birthday, not a Christmas card, not anything. Nothing. And the money did it. I'm sorry. My daughter, on the other hand, doesn't have a pot to piss in hardly. And she's always broke because she's always helping folks. Such and such needed gas money. Well, I kept a couple of dollars out and for some cigarette money. Pops, have you got an extra $20 to get me through till next week for payday? My friend, the car broke down and I just had to help him. It seems like poor people, and my son used to be one of them. What happened? We poor people stick together. If I got $20 and you need 10, unless something horrible is coming, I'm gonna give you half of my money. I don't have a problem. I did it about a month ago. There was this girl, it was 30 degrees outside and she's standing on the side of the road, can't get a ride. 10 o'clock at night, I ask her if she needs a ride. I'll give her a place to stay. No, no hanky-panky funny stuff, just a warm place for the night. That girl, while I was asleep, managed to steal all of my silver. I had it in a Dumbo cookie jar upstairs. She managed to rumble through the house, and I went to look for it the other day just to see if, somebody had asked me about a coin. And I remember having a couple of silver certificate dollar bills and a couple of $2 bills from way back when, and a whole roll of silver dimes from back in my Carney days. And I'd saved this, man, for 20, 30 years. I've been saving this roll of solid silver dimes. They're gone. All my old coins that my grandma and I've collected over the years, some 1898 pennies and nickels and all that, all of it's gone. Done. Because I felt bad for a 40-year-old woman standing on the side of the road, freezing to death. And it got into the 20s that night. I don't regret that I offered her a place to rest her head for a couple of nights to get rearranged. Did she have to steal my silver? It's the only thing I had that was like my bank account. A roll of silver dimes. Man, when the price of silver goes up, I'm going to melt them down, because it's going to be worth a lot more than $5. All of my old coins. They weren't worth anything. Some of them might have only been worth $1 or $2 more than their face value. It was the fact that they were mine. They were given to me by my granny, and she had some of them when she was a little girl at the turn of a century, 100 years ago, and this lady stole them. So when you try to help out somebody, they crap on you. But I think poor people, because they're poor, have a better feeling for another person. I was in town just the other day, and actually it's been a month ago now. It wasn't just the other day. But somebody on the side of the road, and they were like, hey, they didn't ask me for money, but I could tell they were in it tight. And I said, look, I got $5. Will I help you? Oh, well, I didn't ask. I said, I know you didn't ask me for any money. I'm saying I got $5 extra. If you need it, you can have it. Oh my God. They cried. I asked a $5 loan for my son who's worth several $100,000, and I can't get a tooth pulled. What happened in 10 years? He got rich. He got money. And as soon as he got money, he looks down on all of us poor bastards. And I'm a poor bastard. I worked 2 jobs all the time to pay his mother off for the child support and to try to keep myself afloat. I gave him a car. When back in 2000, well, it was 1999, but my pop passed away in December of 1999. Because my son went down to Florida and stayed and helped out with until my father passed away, and I couldn't be there all the time. I was working up here, making good money, $20 an hour. So I was sending them money, paying for the car, his insurance. I paid for him to go to a bartending school and some other kind of school down there. Paid cash for all this now. And that was in 2000, 1999, 2000. Gave him a car, perfectly fine, lock, stock, and barrel, with a nice little Toyota. He never said thanks. When he ran it into the ground, he sold it for $20 worth of junk parts. I told him, why didn't you bring it back? Well, you said it was mine, and I needed $20. I said, I gave you $20 for that car because I knew what was wrong with it. And so now, when people get money, I don't know. It's mine. And this person that I know who was a minister got a scratch off and won $1 million on a scratch off ticket. Legit. It was in the newspapers and all. People that needed money and were his friends, he said, oh, man, they come from out of the woodwork. And everybody wanted a $100,000 loan or something, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, what'd you do? He goes, I told them to all go the hell away. I wasn't going to help any of them. So he won $1 million scratch off. And he was making $40,000, $50,000 a year on his regular job. So he wasn't a poor person for down here. 50 grand down here is a lot of money. I was happy with 40, And so he got this $1 million, and now he doesn't have any friends. Because when they come over, they know he's got $1 million. And because he hasn't spent it, or at least obviously hasn't spent it. But because he has it now, it's his. His comment to me was, but it's mine. Well, yeah, but you won it on a scratch-off, Georgia Lottery. But it's mine. Okay, but you're a preacher, a reverend. You're teaching gospel, and yes, but this $1 million is mine. Who are these people who think they go and I thought they needed $1,000 and they needed this and they needed that. And I said, well, I've known you for a while. I need teeth pulled. Would you help me? Would you lend me the money to get my teeth pulled? No. He's got $1 million in the bank. Admitted it. And I said, would you lend me? I didn't ask him to give it to me. I said, would you lend me? And he's known me for years. Would you lend me the money to get my teeth pulled? No. I hung up on him. I haven't talked to him since. And won't. I'm a preacher. But a preacher who got $1 million on a scratch-off, who says that now that I have this $1 million, it's mine and I ain't giving it up. Now, I'm not saying he should spend it all. That's not my point. But he had good friends who are economically depressed. And he has the facility and the wherewithal to make these people's lives better. And he has chosen not to. What would I do if I had $1 million? I'd be just as broke tomorrow as I am right now. Actually, I got a couple bucks in my pocket at the end of the month. I can't believe it. I actually could go to the store and buy it and spend $70 on groceries. Haven't been to the store in almost 3 weeks, so about time to get something. But money does some weird things. It turns people greedy. I know my son wasn't a greedy person, not until he got the money. And now, I don't know. Demon, man. That's all I can say. The demon money. But to these people, I pray. I pray that they will see and understand that they have the opportunity to bring comfort. The heck with me. I've already been written out of the picture. But there are other people that I'm a tough old bastard, so I can put up with this crap. But there are people who really are suffering. And they should be taken care of. I suffer. Yes, I do. And my pain is just as bad as anybody else's. I'm a tough old bird. I would give up my pain medicine to someone else who's hurting because I know I can make it through. I might gripe and grumble, but I want I have given up my meds for other people who are in pain. But I'm a poor man, money-wise. I am a very rich man in the world. Birds speak to me. Cats speak to me. The plants and the trees speak to me. Mother Earth speaks to me. I've got potatoes that I planted a month ago that are coming up beautiful. I got spinach this high in the garden that I planted a month ago. I got onions up that I planted. Mother Earth is being kind to me. She's given me plenty of rain this spring so far. Knock on wood. The geoengineering will stay out of it. But those are the things that I hope for. I have strawberry patch. I've had fresh strawberries for the last 5 days. A handful. Every morning I walk out in the garden and feed my chickens. And I wander through the garden and a little piece of garlic and some fresh, no pesticides. I got to knock the bugs off a few of these, but I feed a couple of my strawberries to my chickens to make them happy. And I have wonderful eggs. I eat eggs almost every day, but my chickens are there. And my relationship with my world in my little hermitage area down here in the South, I wouldn't trade it. I would like to have my teeth pulled.
I would like to have this meth, and I would like to have the pain out of my mouth after 10 years. But I'm not. I guess I am complaining about it. I could be doing a, oh my God, send me money. I want to get rid of these rotten teeth from my face. Yeah, that's okay. That's not why I'm doing this. What I'm saying is that when people do get money, it changes them. I've seen it happen just firsthand, and to a dear loved one I never thought I would see happen. I still pray for them, and I do think we're all going to make it through this. I continue to try to use positive words, and I think all of us should. I know that some of the folks that I've been, quote, hanging out with in some of these chats, they're not trolling. They're trolling in the respect of they're watching to see what other people are saying. How are you feeling today? Did you have weird visuals the other night? Blah, blah, blah. It's more of a, we're testing the waters with each other. A lot of times what the people are speaking about ain't worth a dime, but what's going on in the chat room is spot on. And they're not calling each other names. They're sending blessings to each other. As I send my blessings to you, may the Creator, God of love and light, send you all wonderful, positive energy so that we'll all be healed. And I mean that from the deepest part of my soul heart to you, all of you, Marie and Lavette, but to the world. When I started this hermitage down here, I knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was. And what I've learned by being a hermit, and I've been sidelined. I used to travel every day, go somewhere. I was doing theater 6 days a week at 2 local places here, Thomasville and Cairo. I was in with 2 different theater groups, lighting, soundtracks, build sets, you name it. Direct, act. Used to play music all the time. Used to just blah, 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 blah. Be a carpenter. Used to work on folks' house for cheap so they could get the work done because they were poor like me. I've been sidelined. If I get out of my property and I live 15, 20 miles from any sizable town, 7 miles from the little town of Meigs, which doesn't even have a traffic light. So that's how big that town is. But it's got a Dollar General store, and I can get what I need there. Now, as far as going anywhere else, I can't go. I can't drive. I can't stay awake long enough, or whatever the situation. I don't trust myself on the road. And I hate to get away from home and then can't get back home. That sucks. So, but it used to piss me off. And then I realized that why are you getting pissed off because you can't leave? Do you really have to be there? Or do you, well, I want to go, but do you need to go? No, but I want to go. So what it started boiling down to as this hermitage and me being a hermit. When I was 4 and 5 years old, people asked me what I was going to be when I grew up. I said, I'm going to be a hermit, live in the woods on the edge of a river. I got a river in my backyard when it flows. And I guess I'm a hermit down here on this acreage. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't want to visit with anybody. Doesn't mean that I want to stay away from society. No. What it has ended up being that every single day is a prayer. When I wake up in the morning, I pray. Creator, may a peace be upon this earth. And so everything that I do through the day, I try to be a positive. Hello, garden. Hello, strawberries. Hello, cats. Hello, trees. Hello, clouds. Even you nasty old chemtrails. I even bless them. Because if I can bless the chemtrails, Creator says that if I think on it hard enough, by the time them things hit the ground, they'll be negated. Okay. So my life as a hermit has brought me inside, yes, but by coming inside myself, it has brought me outside. That's a weird one. I've always been a naturalist and lived in the country. I've been here on this property for over 35 years. So I'm a homesteader. I've been homesteading since day one. You know, I dug my own well with a shovel and I, through 20 foot of clay, everything I do is I'm a homesteader because I've never had a lot of money. I've never had a lot of equipment or tractors or stuff like that. When I dig something, I dig it with a darn shovel, and a pickaxe. I don't have money to rent equipment and all these things. So I have done this work, back-breaking sweat, blood, tears on this property, on this earth. Mother Earth knows it. So when I wake up in the morning, my prayer is always peace upon this earth, peace to mankind, peace to this world. Now, there are those who say, Dave, you're a a hopium freak. All you do is hoping for the, hoping. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're going to be saved. We got to save ourselves. That's true. But at the same time, I do have hope. I have hope every day, Levette, that you have love and light in your life and that people will treat you with decency. Marie, I've not followed you enough, but I've known from what our little chats every week or so or whatever in your chat here. You seem like a perfectly lovely person. I would love to come to Australia and go out and have tea or whatever, But I will love it to be able to tell you in person with my ugly face to you, I love you. I thank you for being who you are. I thank you for passing along any positive information that you can, because together, all of us little single entities dotted around this planet are what's making this change happen. All us little tiny little sparks back here. And in the Bible, it says, and the meek shall inherit the earth. I guess I'm meek. I don't try to be better than anybody else. I try to be the best that I can be without stepping on somebody else's toes. And apparently, the rest of society has deemed me a worthless human being because I can't even get an insurance card from the Social Security that I pay every month. What the hell? I'm not down. I'm not. The moon set 40 degrees off from where it was yesterday. Oh, my God. We're spinning. There are earthquakes. Things are going crazy. And you know what? I feel like I'm on a class 4 rapids. Just white water splashing, waves. You're paddling for your life. But at the same time, if you've ever been whitewater rafting, it is the thrill of a lifetime. So the more, the more it gets a little dicey, the more it gets adventurous. The more it's like, well, shit, what's going to happen tomorrow? Is the moon going to set over this way, to the northwest? I don't know. But rather than look at it as like, we're all going to die. Well, we are at some point. I look at it as like, I wonder what tomorrow's going to bring. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what tomorrow's going to bring. Is it going to rain enough to where I can get my kayak out and go float in the backyard again? That'd be cool. Is it going to be, light enough and warm enough to where I can make it go down to the big river and put in? We'll see. Will the bugs eat my garden like it did the last 2 years? Will my potatoes make? I have hope for those things. I still have hope for peace on this earth. Folks said Trump couldn't do it. NK, North Korea. Oh, there might be peace. The North and South might be joined. there's a lot of war going on, but most of the war is going on because people are tired of the BS. So I'm going to stop this. My nose won't quit running. I got to take my meds. Blessings to you. Spread the joy, even in the midst of the quagmire. Spread the joy. And I know, Levette, that you try to put a positive spin on stuff, but you get crapped on just like the rest of us do, you know? But that's okay. It's all right for us to be mad at the moment, but we can't carry it forward. That's the trick. We need to be angry, be sad or whatever, and then get over it. It's okay. I would love to visit. Well, would you like to come? Have you ever been to America or over this way? I've always wanted to go to Australia. I'm finally reading the comments over here, y'all. Hang on a sec. Yeah, it's one reason no good gets unpunished. I gave trust to a stranger. Yep. Keep throwing pearls to the swine. Yep. True church is the garden. Yes, working with the wonders of creation. Absolutely, Marie. And that's my church. When people say, where do you go? I go to church every day. I go outside and I touch Mother Earth and I say thank you. And I hate it really when I have to dig, but you know, I got to dig the weeds out so I can plant the other stuff, you know. And I've even learned that some weeds are okay and some weeds aren't. But to the point, companion planting. You're right. I'm going to read this, Marie. You would have gave many children joy. And I have. I was a puppeteer and a storyteller. I have 150 different puppets, hand puppets, marionettes, and most of them I made myself. For example, these are two antique puppets. This puppet here was given to me by a person up in Appalachia. I was in Tennessee, and they gave me this puppet, and it's now it is close to 100 years old. And it's a marionette puppet. His strings are fallen. And this one here was a Mexican puppet, but it's close to 50 years old. And he needs reworked as well. And I've got all kinds of different marionette puppets and things. When I was growing up, I thought Howdy Doody was the bomb. And so I used to travel and do puppet shows for kids, teach them about recycling things, how to make a puppet out of a milk jug, you know, and a hot milk glue, and different things, and how to use their imagination. So one of the things that have pissed me off is that I can't travel like that. I would love to experience the fairies and the spirits. Absolutely. And you know, you don't like Trump. I know there's a lot to not like about him, but there's a lot of stuff that's happened that folks are like pissed off about, but he's getting them done. Yeah, I don't have money to travel. I had a Dr. Doolittle doll puppet. Oh, the Talk to the Animals, Dr. Doolittle. Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it? So I am getting better. I am healing myself. 3 years ago, I was in a wheelchair and drooling and couldn't walk out my front door. Now I've got my bicycle out and I've been riding around the yard. I actually ran the other day. I mean, kind of did short laps. I would love to get back to swimming again, but there isn't any place I can go swimming for free. So I wanted to travel because I had a mission to take puppets and show kids, you know, okay, here's computer and all this wizardry, but you know, here's some sticks and string, and this is how you make a puppet. And being able to turn a computer thing into a 3D with your hands and a glue gun or whatever, brings out the most amazing things in children. And if anything I could be pissed about, it's the fact that I can't still do that. I'm stuck here at the house. It's okay. God's got another plan for me, and I'm working on it. And maybe it's that folks are going to come here. I'm working on that part too. But it is now 7:53 Eastern Daylight Time. I'm sending my love, prayers. Marie, have a wonderful day. I think Lavette just jumped off. I love you. Take care. Watch out for yourself. And if I ever get a chance to come to Australia, I'm going to look you up. We're going to have tea together or whatever. So, love from South Georgia. Be kind, be sweet. It takes skill to manipulate a puppet. Even to get all of the puppets that I have, they all have a back history. They all had a separate voice. And I would do them 2 puppets at a time, one in each hand. And, you know, and have a third stuck on the side. But people were amazed at what I could do, the magic I performed using puppets. And I understood way back when that I do possess magic, because I could make the hardest of them who, I don't believe in puppets, blah, blah, blah. By the end of 30 minutes, they would be laughing and having a good time and blah, 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 blah. And folks would go, you know, I didn't even see you standing back there. When you brought that puppet out, because I used to try to hide and everything, but then I gave up. It was too much stuff. So I just had a backdrop I stood behind, but they could see me from about here up. So I'd bring the puppets out, perform them like this, bring one out, get another one, bring it out, blah, 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 keep going. And people would go, you know, Mr. Dave, I didn't even see you standing there. I was holding the puppets. They knew I was holding the puppets, but the focus was off of me. And I've had teachers, PhDs go, I can't believe. She goes, you disappeared before my eyes. You brought that puppet out around in front and started talking. That puppet started talking. And she goes, you disappeared. She goes, not physically, but my attention went from looking up at you to down here, and you disappeared. Now that's shit magic right there. But I'm stuck here at the house. I'm going to try to do these on video. I still have a plan. I'm not done yet. And none of us should give up, because we should all continue to have miracles in our hearts. Spread the joy, Marie. I got to go get some coffee. Love you much. Talk to you soon. A puppet show on video. Yeah, I'm planning on doing, I got 150 of them. I'm going to do an introduction of each one of them. And like, okay, this is Grandpa, and this is how I made him. He's about, which is what I used to do in my workshops. I'd take, I don't know, 5 puppets, we'll say, and one's made out of milk jugs, and one's made out of hot melt glue and other things, and another one is a cloth puppet, and some they have their mouth move up and down, and others don't. They just have a painted mouth, you know, like a dummy puppet, or no, a doll puppet, more like a doll rather than a you know, a marionette type thing. Anyway, so, but yes, I want to do that. I'm not done. I told someone earlier yesterday, they were like, at 65, do you feel old? And I said, no. If anything, I feel weary. And I hurt from all the things that I've fallen and broken and accidents and things, but I actually feel like a young man. I'm on my 3rd or 4th regeneration of childhood. You know, I'm my old long-haired hippie. Some lady asked me the other day, she says, Mr. Dave, she goes, I've known you for a long time. She said, how long you been letting your hair grow out? And I went, shit, about 8 years now, I reckon. When I got old enough and I said, you know, it's not that I have to have long hair. It's that nobody's going to tell me to cut it. You have to cut your hair if you want this job. No, I don't. I don't need your job. Well, so my independence now is that I have long hair simply because I can. That's all. There's not a big deal. However, there is something to be said about long hair Native Americans, which I am a heritage of Native American. There's something to be said about long hair and tuning into the universe. Maybe it is. Maybe these are antennas. Maybe they are. Well, Miss Marie, thank you. You have a wonderful evening. God bless you. And today's Easter. Wait a minute. Oh, Easter's almost done for you. It's just started. Folks are looking for eggs right now. Okay. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. Take it easy. Okie dokie. Love you. Bye. In 3, 2, 1. Huh.